Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So, I watched Michael Trapson's video about his DMT experience, and so it's like, okay, so you've had a breakthrough, Trapson, but now you're back in the real world, okay? And you're going to have to deal with people in the real world and stuff. So, here's the thing, it's like, are you capable of having a conversation with me, you know? The experiences that we've had together, like, I don't call it like that we've actually experienced things together, because you're unwilling to even just have a conversation with me, right? So now, like, did I affect your life? You know, it's one of these weird things that's like, okay, we haven't even spoken and stuff. It's like, did I affect your life? Like, let's say one thing. You were all coked out with your friend Mike Light, right? And then you further have explained how Mike Light is going through his personal problems and he's dealing with that stuff. So I'm going to take that to mean that Mike Light actually has a coke problem, right? And he had a problem. He's trying to fix it up. Now, you were right there with him, doing coke, getting all thin and stuff, partying, having a good time. Now, who was out there? Was there anybody out there that was like saying, "Hey, dude, I see what you're doing. That ain't so cool. What you think you're doing and stuff." Who was actually coming at you saying, "Hey, you need to relook at yourself and what you're doing ain't so cool"? You know, I would think that I probably had a little bit of something to say in helping you stay away from Mike. Like, look at where you're at right now. If I never would come in the picture, right? You never heard my name, nothing, right? Would you have journeyed more down the road of being a cocaine addict with Mike Light? And who's to say where that could have ended up? You could have ended up dead, doing some drug deal. Who knows where your life would have ended up, right? So I think I'm involved in your life in some part. I mean, it's a little part. I'm not taking credit for anything that I don't deserve and stuff. But I feel that I am part of your life. Like, I know I'm in your head. There's no doubt that my words and things that I've done have come across in your head, and you know the name American Scheme, like things when things happen and all of a sudden you're thinking about me and stuff. I'm sure things like that have occurred because I went at you hard enough and stuff, right? But I went at you hard because you wouldn't have a conversation with me. So it's like one of these things that's like, to where we're at the point we're at now, you'll respect me more, you know, because of the things I did do to you and stuff and the way I treated you and stuff. You'll respect me as time moves on. We evolve, and that's how things go and stuff. So it's like, look, I've never been here saying, I ain't going to talk to Trapson. He's a stupid loser. No, I've always kept saying, okay, well, when it's time for him to have a conversation, I'm ready. Keep coming at you, trying to have a conversation. All I've ever wanted to do, have a conversation with you. Look at where you're at now. The way you're acting and talking about your experience and who you are now. Okay, was River Gibbs going to help you down this journey? Was there any benefit that you were going to get from having conversations with River Gibbs? What about there's that guy, I saw you did a video with that MJ Buzz, like 317, whatever it was. Did anything that, as a conversation that you had with him, was there any form of enlightenment to you? Any kind of uplifting to your spiritual needs and in your journey through this process of living as a human being, through you trying to get back to your fucking original soul of who you are? Anything that they had, any conversation with you that was going to benefit you? Nothing. All of those people, I've seen you interview bunches of people, all of them. Every interview I've seen you had meant nothing. To me, it was always so low level, just ignorant slave shit. Just straight up slave shit, right? Dumb slave shit. And that's where these conversations of which you've always been having. So as things go on, I see that if you would have got into my story, you would not have been. I think the way it goes is like, because, you know, time works itself out and things happen for a reason. So I don't think that if you would have linked onto my story and then you would have gotten all the fame, because there's a massive fame that's like, it's like as big as fame as you could ever imagine having, Trapson. The fame that you're going to get from exposing my story to the world, it's way beyond that. It's way beyond that, right? And so the thing is I don't want that stuff. Like, there's the movie called Devil's Advocate, and in the end, there's Satan gets him, and he's like saying, "You're a star, you know, people need to hear your story." And then he says, "Okay, call me in the morning." And then he turns back into Satan and he laughs and he says, "Vanity, definitely my favorite sin." Okay, so I'm not going to be trapped by the lures. Like when my story breaks, plus I'm older and stuff, and I'm just like so not into that shit at all, right? And so I'm not going to let them lure me in and say, oh, you're great, you know, you need to talk, you know, you need to tell your story, you need to make a movie about you and all. Okay, that's just, that stuff doesn't appeal to me anymore, right? But for you, it's like, go ahead, Traps. That's why I've been looking for somebody to take that part. I don't want that part. I don't want to be that part. I need somebody else. Now, I'm not trying to offend you, but it's like I'm Superman and I need a Lois Lane. I'm not trying to call you, like, I'm not trying to insult you by calling you Lois Lane. What I'm just trying to say is that there's a Superman and then there's another person that's got that direct contact with Superman, okay? So, like, I want to be the Superman who did all the story and did all this stuff, but then there still needs to be a person, like a Lois Lane person. Like I was, I'm not trying to fit you. That's just the best way I know how to explain it. And but there needs to be the other Lois Lane, the reporter that goes out into the talks to the world and that can relate the messages of having her encounters with Superman and shit, right? So that's why, like, I want you to be that person. You go, you like talking to the media. You can be in public and stuff. You're still young enough and stuff where you'll fit in, okay? But I do think that if you would have done it like a few years ago, it might have been your downfall. You might have been lured into Hollywood, started doing too much drugs and having sex with wild women. Maybe you could end up with some bad disease, or you could end up overdosing and stuff. Maybe you would have been lured into things that you were not prepared to deal with and stuff. So I think that we're at this point now, this is how things work out, that I think now you're ready. You're ready to take this journey, the next step. And the step is, it's me. I'm the one here that has the door. I have the key to the doors that open all the doors. I'm the key master of the Matrix and shit, right? So I've got the keys. And what the keys that opens all the doors is the exposing of the truth that Michael Jackson's real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. I can prove this. There's no doubt about it. Like, just the reality. Think about you being a Michael Jackson fan. It's like, dude, just be a Michael Jackson fan. Don't you understand the significance that I've named Billie Jean? Just think about it, okay? In the Michael Jackson world, there's a Billie Jean, okay? Billie Jean has been named as Diana Ross, but the reason nobody could ever name that Billie Jean as Diana Ross, because Billie Jean is actually about Diana Ross informing Michael Jackson that she was his real mother when Michael Jackson was 10 years old and living in Diana Ross's house. Nobody was ever going to figure that out. Michael had, and this is the thing about Michael Jackson, he had to live with the reality that nobody could understand his art. That's one of these weird, like, things about the realms of what Michael Jackson had to live with, like that weird realm of what he had to do while living with the fact that he's actually abandoned as a child, but he's having to live with the title as a Jackson's an American Dream. Like, really confusing shit, really weird shit, right? And so it's like, I want you to step up and help Michael Jackson. And this will also free the world to let them understand that the world of what they've been exposed to can be on such a level of a deception and a lie that we all believe Michael was part of the Jackson family as a Jackson's American Dream, but not only is he not part of the family, his real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson, and Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson are still alive, so we can get this confirmed by them. That's the level of, like, how big this is. Once they confirm it, once we expose it and demand that they fucking come out and either deny or admit to the truth, then that's it. There's no way that they'll be able to turn away, because I have the hardest core evidence. They can't deny it because it's true. So I think you're ready now for this responsibility. It's a big responsibility to go out and fight this battle and shit, right? I've always thought that you're the right person, but I can see now that your journey, you were not prepared a few years ago. And we had to go through this, whatever this experience we've gone through and stuff. So, but I think you're ready now. And so I just wanted to show you a little bit stuff. So it's like, okay, so me personally, my experience with like hallucinogenics mainly was like when I was 19. And I was, for the year from like 19 to 20, I had done hallucinogenics quite a few times and stuff. So I have enough experience to understand and stuff. And so let me show you a few things just to show you that I know what I'm talking about. So this is Timothy Leary, and so Timothy Leary's, his most famous catchphrase is this right here. Listen to this.
Turn on, tune in, and drop out.
Okay, so that's Timothy Leary's most famous catchphrase. You're going to turn on, tune in, and drop out. Okay? So the first time I did LSD, it was a crazy experience. We were going to Griffith Park Observatory. They have the laserium there. I don't know if you've been there or if they still do it, because I haven't been there for a while. But they would have the laser shows, because that's back when lasers were, you know, in their infancy. And then they would have a cool laser show, and then they would play, like, you would go there for it to be the Doors night or the Pink Floyd night, stuff like that. So we were headed to the laserium. We had taken the acid. We were headed there. You know, it takes like 45 minutes kind of for the acid to really kick in. So we're headed there, and we're like halfway there, and we're getting distracted by some stuff. And then we kind of, all of us, because there was a few of us, and it was the first time all of us did acid that first night, and we kind of started getting a little scared and stuff. So we said, let's go back to the crib and shit, right? But we go back to the crib, and then crazy, my one friend freaks out on acid and chased everybody out of the house, which was the drug dealer, the guy that owned the house. He's a cocaine dealer. But one of his friends, because these are Mexican guys, one of his friends had just got arrested for cocaine and stuff. So these are big coke dealers and shit, right? So my one friend chases everybody out, and then I'm there basically, and there's some other people back in the room, but I'm kind of there alone. So somebody knocks on the door, and so I'm tripping on acid. First fucking time ever tripping. I open up the door, and there's a little Mexican mafia dude with a gun in his waist, and then there's a big black gangster behind him. And it's like, the Mexican dude didn't speak English, and when you're in LA and you know about these gangsters and how people are, when you encounter the Mexican ones, the ones that are from Mexico that don't speak English, those dudes ain't fucking around, dude. And he was there to collect money for the guy that had got arrested, the drug dealer. So this was a collecting money about cocaine issues and shit, right? This was serious fucking shit. So I'm tripping my first night of acid. I opened the door, and that's what I opened it up to. That's part of like the shit I experienced and shit, right? So then the second time I did acid, I watched the movie Pink Floyd The Wall, because you know the first couple hours when you're tripping heavy, when you're really peaking and shit, right? You need to kind of relax in this place and shit, you know? So the first couple hours, a lot of times what we would do is we'd either go to a movie or we'd watch a movie, something like that, for those first couple hours and shit, right? So then the second time we did acid, we watched Pink Floyd The Wall. And so Pink Floyd The Wall, if you know that movie, it's heavy, it's intense. And so I didn't understand. It's like, it was kind of too heavy for me. And it was like, what the fuck is this shit? It was like, whoa. It's like trippy, kind of. I still didn't understand and shit, right? So then the third time we do acid, we watch The Doors. Oliver Stone's The Doors, right? And so this is the very first line. This is the line of how the Doors movie, this would be the very first line of how it starts.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin.
Okay, so is everybody in? So that's a connection to the Timothy Leary's turn on, tune in, and drop out. So when you're watching it and he's saying, is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony's about to begin. That's what it's like when he's saying, is everybody's in? He's like, do you got your head full of acid? Is your head straight? That's what it's like. And so the reason I'm saying this to you, because I'm trying to relate to you that I'm a person that's like, you can have conversations with. I've had common experiences and shit, and I've thought about this shit too. I have better understanding of what I was getting into and stuff like that, right? And then so he says, everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony's about to begin. So then what this movie is when you're tripping on acid with the Doors music, it's like a ceremonial experience that you go through. That's why people that can't understand this movie, The Doors, and they, what is that? What's going on? It's like, oh, well, you didn't have your head fucking on right when you watched the movie. You weren't tuned in properly and shit, right? So that's what I'm saying. This is how the movie starts. It says, is everybody in? That comes from the Timothy Leary. So there's two really famous people around the hippie scene. There's Timothy Leary, and I'm going to show you the other one here in a second, right? So then there's this movie called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, okay? And so this movie, which I'm going to show you a little bit more, but this part is just, let me show you this little part right here.
Scanlon, who's pitching the opener?
Medication time.
This is the queen.
Medication time.
I'm the queen.
Medication.
And so, see how he said, who's pitching the opener? He's talking about baseball because that's like American way, right? But then the lady's saying, medication time, medication time. And so this movie is, it's like a, understanding that we're all like in a mental asylum and shit, right? That we're like living in this mental asylum and stuff. And it's like you can be watching the baseball game, but then there's the nurses and the government saying, okay, now it's medication time. You got to get medicated and shit, right? Because they're in control. That's what this movie is really about. It's like no matter what you think you are and stuff, the reality is you're under their control, and they'll do what they fucking want to you. You need to understand that. So the guy that wrote that movie, The One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the guy that wrote that, his name is Ken Kesey. Okay, so these are like the two big, but they're different personalities. That's the thing is, Timothy Leary is like the scientist guy. Ken Kesey's an educated guy and stuff, but he's more like the wild rebel kind of freewheeling kind of guy, right? And Ken Kesey wrote that movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because he said that he was working in a mental asylum place, and when he was working there, that's when they were doing their LSD studies, the testing on these people. And he said he would see the people go into the room and they'd come out and they're like all wild-eyed and crazy shit. And so he was like, what's going on in that room and shit? So he went and started stealing LSD. And that's like how a big part of how LSD got exposed and shit, right? So this is a little thing about Ken Kesey. Let me show you a little piece here.
When did the 60s begin? That might seem obvious, but in 1964, this man, Ken Kesey, lit the fuse for the explosion of the 60s.
That's the bus, the further bus and shit, right? So 1964, that's Ken Kesey. That's the bus called Further. It's a real famous journey, and I think that this is the movie. They take that bus from California over to the East Coast, and they go hang out with Timothy Leary and shit, right? But then he's saying when they're there, he's like it was a different scene. They weren't the same. They were different kind of people and shit, right? But similar, like-minded people, but different. And that's kind of where I'm trying to relate to you, Trapson, right now. Is it's like, okay, even in the world, it's like, okay, you've been exposed to something and you're looking for like-minded people to have good conversations with and stuff, right? And so just by saying, oh, I did hallucinogenics and stuff, that doesn't mean you're going to run into like-minded people. People are still unique individuals, and they're going to want to talk about their own personal things. They got their own personal issues, and that's what's going to go on. And so you just got to stay the same person you are and stay on your journey, you know? You get on the bus that goes further. Where are you going? I'm going further. I'm going further. Right? So it's like I'm going down deeper in the rabbit hole and shit. I'm going to keep going and shit. See, you know, you go through the Alice in Wonderland, you know? You go through the looking glass, you know? Go to the other side and shit, right? So it's like, I just wanted to say this really quick to you, Trapson, because it's just like basically like, okay, dude, okay, are you ready to talk? Like I've been saying to you, it's like, we don't need to do a show together. Just have a conversation with me. And the conversation, though, the main theme of the conversation is Michael Jackson's real parents are Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. And Diana Ross is Billie Jean. These are all things that I have massive evidence to back up what I'm saying, like evidence. I could go to a courtroom and I guarantee that I would win. There's no overcoming the evidence of what I've got because it's true. And I've got it all laid out. I've done a serious investigation now, and I'm ready for all challenges that come my way. I'm ready to overcome those challenges. And I can help anybody that needs guidance on this journey to put them on the path so they can see the light in the end. I can do that too. You know, I'm a guide ready to show people the way. But like I said, I don't want to go to Hollywood. There's a lot of things that I don't want to do. So I need another person. And like I said, I think the Trapson, I think you're perfect for that. And so now, especially where you're at, that you got your head in the right place, I think now is the time. It's like, okay, now come on, just think about the reality. Think about who I am, the way I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and what I'm actually trying to talk to you about is Michael Jackson and what it's actually about. It's like you needed to be strong enough and ready to be able to take on this experience. And I think you're ready now. So it's like, come on, send me an email. Let's have a conversation, Trapson. It's time.